Alexander Isak, reports have come in, as we walked out, that he has told Newcastle he wants to explore leaving.
I mean, I was giddy before on the gutter. I'm completely lost
I think
it now.
it's spun round.
Yeah. I was saying to Mo then, I mean, I hate all the wording on Twitter with things like, it's a bomber and all this, but this is a bomber. You know, and this is, if anything's going to be a bomber kind of transfer story, getting him reaching the stage now when he's told them, lads, I want to get off. You know, he's
not boarded the plane and he said to them, I want to go.
I mean, he's burning bridges now. He's burning bridges. The stuff that now this has come out that he has said he wants to go in so many words. We're now at the point potentially of no return for the fan base as well. It also potentially helps the owners save a little bit of face because his hand is forced because nobody wants an unhappy player and yada yada yada. I am excited, Neil.
It's fascinating because this was the next step that we weren't necessarily sure he was going to take, because we have to remember, up until the end of the season, he looked very happy at Newcastle. I mean, he'd won the big trophy, they got into the Champions League. You could see in a world where he would be like, okay, we'll play in the Champions League and we'll see where we get to at the end of this summer. But no, whatever has been on the table for Liverpool has been enticing enough for him to say, no, I want this Newcastle thing to end now, and I want to get to the next stage in my career. And what that might do is it might bridge the one biggest problem there is at the moment, which is Liverpool's valuation and Newcastle's valuation. Because as Stu said, once a player's come out and said that he's started to agitate and said he's unhappy, then Newcastle's strength in being able to say, well, we're definitely going to sell at this point and we're not going to entertain anything lower than that, that might start to weaken once the player starts to make it clear that him being still at the club beyond the end of the season, at the end of the summer, would not be what he wants at all, and would make it more difficult for everyone else to deal with.
When you've got this situation where I think there's a conflict at the heart of what's been going on from the Newcastle perspective, which is solely this. They're of the view, rightly, he is an exceptional player. Could be, you know, if we take out the Haaland, I think he's a more all-round footballer than Haaland, but I want to be clear about this, I don't want to say this down the camera, especially when it's going on for free on YouTube, there's every chance Haaland just scores 50 goals next season, because that's what he is. He is an absolute machine. So, you know, people might say, well, Isak's a better player than Haaland, but Haaland could just bang 50. If you take Haaland out of the equation, possibly Mbappe out of the equation.
More valuable player.
Yeah. It's up there as a conversation, but I'm prepared to say 50 goals is pretty valuable.
Yes.
there is with it, Mo, though, you know, as I say, you take maybe Mbappe out of the equation as well. He is, I think there's a general acceptance, the best number 9 there is. Paris Saint-Germain haven't played with one. They've used Dembele in the role as a false one, so it's a little bit different. But my point here, though, is that's what he is. Newcastle saying his valuation will be the other side of 100 million. Let's just sort of end there. But you're not paying him like that.
No.
And that's, for me, that's the conflict that Newcastle have now created. That's what the circumstances created. But you either reward the player, and supposedly that will put Newcastle into a place they don't want to be in terms of the wider wage structure.
Yeah, and I mean, we heard the rumours yesterday even, that the number was £300,000 a week was what he wanted. And to be honest, when I first heard that story, I thought, they'll probably do that, so he's probably going to stay. But now the fact that all this has happened makes me think that they said no, that is too much for us. Yeah. And that is a bit of an issue for them, because if you are trying to become an elite team, if you're trying to keep hold of elite footballers and have more than one, you're going to need to factor into your structure that there is going to be some people who are that good, who are going to deserve and earn that much money. If you have no room in your wage structure for any £300,000 a week players, you're not going to keep elite players. And you mentioned the fact that he's in the top echelon of forwards. He's certainly the best forward who's going to be potentially moving clubs. Like, I think Mbappe and Haaland aren't going to be leaving where they're at for any time soon. So that makes him the most saleable asset in the most high-profile position on the pitch. So, as you say, if you're saying to selling clubs, if you're saying to him and his agent, well, we value you at this much in terms of you're going to leave, the fact that they aren't able to say we value this much in terms of how much we're going to give you completely weakens that argument.
I hope you're enjoying this free show at the moment. Loads of excellent, exciting stuff on the Anfield Wrap. If you want to be part of the whole thing, you can download the Anfield Wrap app and go from there, or you can subscribe via the YouTube membership as well for video-only content and other bits and pieces. We love doing these shows. We love that you watch them. So come, be part of the journey with us.